my name's Dylan, and today I'm working on a tune on the circuit tracks. I thought it would be a good opportunity to show you how to access the synth engine that's inside the tracks and how to craft your own sounds. So I'm working on a track. I've got some drums going on here and it sounds like this. So normally when I'm working with circuit, I don't use a computer, which is the nice part about it. I can do everything on the hardware and kind of get lost in the music making. But today, because I'm designing a synth sound, I've got my mouse and keyboard here, and I've got components loaded up on my computer, which connects to the circuit tracks over USB and allows you to access the full capabilities of the synth engine. So what I'm going to do is choose Create Patch. I'm going to start from scratch. And you'll see that I get access to the full synth engine that's inside the circuit. It's quite a capable synth, and it has macro mapping, it has effects, and quite a detailed modulation matrix, which means you can really craft your own sounds for the unit. Now, the way that synth sounds are presented on the circuit is that you can go into preset mode and browse the available sounds like this. Now, all the sounds that come in the packs have been mapped in a consistent way so that it's easy to remember what you're doing. You've got an oscillator knob that controls something to do with the oscillator, oscillator modulation, an amplitude envelope, filter envelope, filter frequency and resonance, modulation and effects. You can actually map those knobs to whatever you want, but I find it useful to stick with the pattern of mapping that's labeled on the hardware so I don't have to think about what each knob does. So what I'm going to do here is name this patch. I'm just going to call it, let's call it init, because I want it to be completely blank. And I'm going to send that to the circuit tracks, choose the pack that I'm using, and I'm going to put it in this top right hand corner there and send it over. So now that preset is my init sound with no control mapped and all the default settings of the synthesizer. What I can then do is start mapping things in ways that I want to. So what I want to do is use oscillator 2 as a sub-oscillator. So to do that, I'm going to drag the purple modulation for macro knob 1, which is my oscillator knob, onto oscillator 2. By default, that will get mapped to the full depth and the full range of the macro knob. And for what I'm doing here, that's totally fine. I will turn oscillator 2 down, let's say 2 octaves. And now, when I play, by default, I get just one oscillator, and when I turn the oscillator knob, it blends in oscillator 2. I can also map other controls to that same knob, but I like to keep things quite simple. So all I'm going to use that knob for is controlling the volume of my sub-oscillator. The next knob is oscillator modulation, and you can map that to all sorts of things. You can have sync, or you can interpolate through different settings of the waveforms and stuff, but I'm just going to do something very simple, which is to map that knob to the sense detune of the second oscillator, so that when I turn it up I get a nice detuned bass sound. I don't want it to go quite so far because I want the full range of the knob to only detune the oscillator a little bit. About there sounds good. Now I can do simple things like choose knob 5, map that to the frequency. I need to turn the knob down so that when I turn this one, it modulates it up. I can do the same simple mapping for the resonance. I like designing my own sounds like this from scratch with simple mappings because it helps me really understand what's going on with the synth. Obviously you can get really deep with what you do here, and many of the presets that come in the packs have all sorts of great modulation and effects going on. I'm working on just a really simple sound, and so I'm keeping things pretty straightforward to start with. I'm going to go a bit deeper on this now and design a sound and show that in the context of a tune I've been working on. Okay, so I've got my sound going. It's a pretty simple sound, but it gives me a wide range of control, and I've really tailored it to be the kind of sound I'm looking for. So I've got sub oscillator on the first knob, detuning on the second knob, the length of the amplitude envelope on the third knob. I can turn up filter envelope modulation to increase the cutoff frequency. Filter frequency and resonance are just mapped directly because I like to have direct control of those. Modulation brings the LFO in. And the last knob brings in the phaser. So I can get a wide range of sounds out of that one preset. I can go from a really short chord stab to a much longer floaty sound. A really simple short pluck sound. All from that one preset. So you can load up a whole lot of presets into the circuit, and each one of those has those mappable controls that you can manipulate. I'm going to send that patch over to the circuit tracks again now that I've updated it. So now when I select Synth 1 and preset 8 there, I get the sound that I've just created ready to go on the circuit. I'm going to roll the beat and just try and jam something in as a part. Cool. So you can hear that by recording and modulating those parameters that I designed by turning the knobs while it's recording, I can take quite a simple synth sound and make a fairly long evolving pattern out of it. I've been really enjoying digging a bit deeper into the synth on the circuit tracks and designing sounds like this, so I really feel like I can craft them to fit my tune. I think that one will work nicely with a bit of side chain. So let's turn on side chaining from that kick pattern and roll the beat down. Thanks.